Hello, you're watching TVP World News. I'm Miroslav Wlachovský. Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico's visit to Moscow has drawn much criticism, not just from abroad but also at home, where it has caused tensions within his coalition and demonstrations on the streets. Meanwhile, Slovakia's actual energy problem remains unresolved.
While Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico has never made a secret of wanting to visit Moscow, Sunday's trip came as a surprise to most. It didn't take long for criticism to come in.
This is indeed a big security issue, both for Slovakia and the entire Europe. Why is this leader so dependent on Moscow? What is being paid to him, and what does he pay with?
At home, there were protests in front of the main government building. Many Slovaks are not thrilled with what they see as kowtowing to the Kremlin.
He has served the purpose of Russian propaganda, where President Putin siding, with or showing up together with Prime Minister Fico can say, now I'm not alone, because there are countries like Slovakia, like Hungary, who are not supporting Ukraine, and the West is divided.
Criticism doesn't only come from the opposition, but also from Fico's coalition partner. While President Peter Pellegrini has been cautious in directly criticizing Fico's visit, his party colleagues have been more vocal.
There are some MPs in this party who are growingly critical towards some of the government's actions, and some of them have voiced critiques already vis-à-vis this visit. So there we have perhaps growing tension, an indicator of a growing tension also within the coalition.
But Fico claims the country's energy security is at stake. Slovakia is even more dependent on Russian gas coming through Ukraine than other countries in the region. The only supply comes through a single pipeline originating in Russia, which travels through Ukraine. Other countries are at least looking for alternatives. Even famously Kremlin-friendly governments like Serbia and Hungary are looking to be connected to the southern gas corridor, which brings LNG from Azerbaijan. Serbia completed an interconnection with Bulgaria last year, but Slovakia has taken no steps to diversify their energy mix.
Many points show us that Slovakia has neglected the decisions to do the political, economical, and technological decisions to be able to drop the dependence. And now, basically 10 days before the contract with Gazprom runs out, Slovakia, and at the level of the Prime Minister, is trying to secure cheap gas.
But the visit is unlikely to bring such results, as it's Ukraine that makes transit decisions. Rather, political scientist Max Steuer believes that Fico is mostly driven by political symbolism in the face of likely energy price hikes next year.
And so with this, Fico can communicate that to his voters, to his supporters, that he is doing something. He is not sitting idly.
Slovakia won't run out of gas entirely, as it can always look toward the west. But it will certainly be much more expensive than what Bratislava is used to.
In a post on social media, President Zelensky also criticized talks between Putin and Fico, the topic of which remains a secret, and added that Fico's main motivation comes from wanting to maintain trade ties with Moscow, specifically Russian gas.
We are fighting for our lives. Fico is fighting for money, and it's unlikely that money is for Slovakia. Shadow agreements with Putin are either a trade of state interests or working for personal gain. We offered him solutions regarding potential compensation for Slovaks, the Slovaks specifically, for losses from Russian transit, as well as alternatives for transit, any other gas, not Russian, at the request of the European Commission. We were ready to do this. Fico did not want compensation for the Slovaks, and he does not want to cooperate with the European Commission. For some reason, he finds Moscow more profitable.
Prime Minister Fico's meeting with Putin in Russia has raised questions about Slovakia's alignment with EU energy policies, as well as sanctions against Russia. Our World Talks guest Miroslav Wlachovský, Slovakia's former foreign minister, says the visit proved detrimental to the country's international reputation.
The problem Slovakia is facing for a long time is our dependence on Russian energy. And we know all, and Prime Minister Fico should be one of the first who knows that very well, that Russia started to weaponize energy supply long time ago. He was Slovak Prime Minister in 2008 when we faced the crisis, and the gas flow from Russia was stopped for a couple of days, and he had to face that crisis. So normal leader would after that try to do everything to arrange the energy security of supplies from other sources, not just to be dependent on the sources from Russia. But financially, obviously, it was a good deal. Therefore, he didn't do much in that sense, and now the situation is even worse given the Russian aggression towards Ukraine. And I think Prime Minister Fico, but unfortunately not only him, but the whole country is paying for not diversifying enough energy sources, which some other countries in the regions, including Poland, including Czech Republic, has managed in the last decade.
Russian cargo ship Ursa Maior has sunk in the Mediterranean Sea. The vessel was reportedly en route to Syria to collect armament left by the evacuating Russian forces. An engine explosion is believed to be the cause of the sinking in the waters between Algeria and Spain. Tracking data shows that the Ursa Maior left the port of St. Petersburg on the 11th of December and stopped sending signal on Monday evening. 2 crew members are reported missing. A report by the Financial Times shows that a Russian influence network, which worked to spread disinformation during the COVID-19 pandemic, was also very much active ahead of Romania's recently cancelled elections. Investigators on the case say that the firm specializes in targeting the public with scams. The advertising company in question, AdNow, was found to have links to Romania's far-right pro-Russian circles and played a major role in the campaign of pro-Putin candidate Călin Georgescu. The politician came in the first round of Romania's presidential elections despite seemingly coming out of nowhere. His political campaign revolved around maintaining a large social media presence on TikTok. However, many creators who promoted him have since been investigated and questioned. The European Commission has also launched an investigation into the bizarre rise in popularity, but both Georgescu and TikTok deny any wrongdoing or any links with Russia. According to estimates from both South Korea and Ukraine, thousands of North Korean troops have been killed or wounded in Ukraine while fighting on the Russian side. More than 1,000 North Korean soldiers have been killed or wounded in Russia's war in Ukraine, South Korea said on Monday. Kiev puts the total at over 3,000. Pyongyang has sent thousands of troops to bolster the Russian military, including to the Kursk border region, where Ukrainian forces seized territory earlier this year. According to South Korea's chief of staff, Pyongyang is reportedly preparing for the rotation or additional deployment of soldiers to aid Russia's war effort. South Korea also said its intelligence suggests that North Korea is producing and providing self-destructible drones to Russia to further assist Moscow in its attacks against Ukraine. Protests are underway in Serbia over the deadly accident that took place last month. Demonstrators demand the resignation of Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić, as well as the mayor of Novi Sad, the city where 15 people lost their lives after a roof collapsed at a local train station.
What began last month as protests over the responsibility for the accident has grown into a larger movement against the Serbian government in general. The current protests are largely attended by university students as well as faculty members.
It is the honor and responsibility of your generation, as it was for me in the latter half of the 1990s, to be the drivers of change, to drive the progress of this society, and to ensure that Serbia is a decent state for all of us.
On November 1st, a part of the railway station in the city of Novi Sad collapsed, killing 15 people. The faulty part of the construction was very old and was not replaced during the reconstruction, which ended just months before the collapse. Protesters have blamed the current administration for the accident. An investigation was launched into the matter, resulting in the arrest of a number of officials, including the construction minister. Protests began in Novi Sad, with demonstrators accusing the government of negligence. The government vowed to release all documents relating to the incident.
I resolved to provide the documentation to the public and to the students as they requested, contingent upon their authorization of a designated individual, so that we know who we are giving it to, so that we don't give it to just anyone off the street.
While protests have proceeded peacefully, demonstrators are alleging assault by people associated with the government.
I am here with the hope that the persons who beat my fellow students from the Faculty of Dramatic Arts will be identified and prosecuted under the law. Furthermore, the public broadcaster, RTS, is continuously circulating lies about us being paid by various foreign entities, which I think all citizens clearly understand is untrue.
The ruling Serbian Progressive Party has already faced large-scale protests against the construction of a lithium mine in the country. However, the current demonstrations seem to be directed against the government in general, rather than just one specific issue.
It is very early to predict whether this means the end of the incumbent coalition. I have learned in the past 12 years never to underestimate Aleksandar Vučić. But this is, I speak with full confidence, the most serious political crisis that they have faced.
Most recent available polls show parties forming the current Serbian government enjoy a comfortable lead, with 63% of the public planning to vote for them. It remains to be seen if the current protests will affect this support.
Germany is facing a daily barrage of disinformation campaigns, according to a senior opposition politician. The threat comes at a time of preparations for snap parliamentary elections scheduled to take place on the 23rd of February. Johann Wadepool, deputy chairman of Germany's CDU-CSU parliamentary faction for defense and security, said in an interview with the Polish press agency that foreign influence campaigns pose a serious threat and accused Russia of attempting to sway voters by stoking fears of escalation in Ukraine. The elections come amid public dissatisfaction with the ruling coalition of Chancellor Olaf Scholz, according to Wadepool. The Christian Democrats, led by Friedrich Merz, are vying to form the next government. Wadepool said their priorities would include strengthening the economy and restoring a sense of security and stability. Christmas is not only about presents. In Poland, Christmas dishes are something many adults crave even more than opening the gifts. So what can you find on Polish dinner tables during this magical time? Let's take a look.
Christmas dishes in Poland are truly a sight to behold. Whether it's the traditional carp or the world-famous dumplings called pierogi, every Pole will agree that Christmas food is one of the best aspects of the holiday. But when it comes to what dish is the best, this is where agreements end.
Borscht with dumplings is my favorite.
Hunter stew, bigos.
Zupa rybna. Fish soup. I'm from Silesia.
Mulled wine is the best.
Traditionally, there should be 12 dishes on the Christmas dinner table, stemming from the 12 apostles of Christ. No matter what dish is the favorite one, Poles usually can't wait to taste them at the end of the year. But to establish the legendary status once and for all, we enlisted the help of an impartial judge, a Michelin star Italian chef.
On Christmas Day, well, it's madness, yeah, for everybody. Yeah, I love it in here. I love Polish food in general very much.
Andrea Kamastra has been living and cooking in Poland for the past 14 years. For him, Christmas food is more than just about filling up.
It's as well emotional to me, because actually when I came to Poland the first time was around Christmas time. I think it was in November, the end of November. So it reminds me always of my first day in Poland.
But Christmas dishes are just as popular in Italy as they are in Poland. At his restaurant in Warsaw, Andrea prepares something which reminds him of home. The traditional panettone sweet bread with a little twist.
We have as well a savory version, which is very interesting. We make it with pecorino cheese and caramelized onions, so we serve it on top of our breadboard. It's impossible not to like it. There is lots of butter, lots of cheese, and it's fluffy and light. It's something that people go crazy for. It's one of my favorite things to eat as well.
An Italian panettone or a Polish holiday bread. Christmas in Europe always tastes like home. These traditional Polish Christmas dishes are a great way not only to fill your belly, but also to warm your heart. I wish you a very merry and tasty Christmas. Kazimierz Łysiak from Warsaw, TVP World.
And that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and please stay with us here on TVP World.